Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to say good afternoon on behalf of the Sun Lakes HOA. I want to thank the supervisor and his staff and different services from the county for coming. Before we get started, as we do at many meetings here, I'd like to do a Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is here behind me. Ready? Begin. Thank you. Before as part of my introduction of the supervisor, back in October, through Mrs. Cervantes here, she made contact with the supervisor candidate at the time. He came out, spent an hour and a half with Virginia and I. We talked to him about the Banning Point project. We talked to him about the HOA. We toured the entire facility of Sun Lakes. And quite frankly, I think he wanted to move here, but I told him he's not old enough. So at that time, the supervisor pledged his support of the warehouse fight that we are making and anything he can do for the community. I told him I'd only make one politician joke, so here it comes. He's kept a promise. That's the joke, because usually that doesn't happen. On February 7th, the supervisor's office gave the Pass Action Group a letter of support in fighting the warehouse and agreeing with our position on it. And we were grateful for that. One of his staff members, David, actually made the presentation. And it was very, very uplifting to myself and a lot of people in the community seeing the support from our newly elected our supervisor. So that was fantastic. Then a couple days later, again keeping his promises of getting involved, the supervisor met with myself as the vice president of the HOA, Bob Walter as the president, and our city council member Sherry Flynn, along with some of his staff, and we had about a 2-hour meeting just discussing what is necessary in Sun Lakes. We gave him a lot of rundown of our demographics and that kind of stuff. So we'd like to thank him again for that as well. So, yeah, go ahead. So in short, the supervisor has shown support to our community in the short time he's been in his office, and it is truly appreciated that post-election he has made good on his commitments, and we really appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce the supervisor for the County of Riverside 5th District, Dr. Yxstian Gutierrez. Thank you.
Well, before we start, I just want to thank Randy for his leadership. I also want to thank Bob as well, Bob Walters, the president of the HOA, for your leadership as well, the board of directors, Virginia as well for connecting me as well. I appreciate it. If we can give them a round of applause for all of their leadership in doing this hard work. So, I just want to say that, I was always taught, my mom always told me, that if you make a promise, keep the promise. And so as soon as I was elected, I made sure that was a major initiative of ours, was to make sure that we are supporting the opposition, of the warehouse, and so our office is doing that, and because of that, we did write that letter of support as well. So again, just want you to know that our office is doing anything we can to support this HOA and also the Pass Action Group as well. Just over the Badlands, is Moreno Valley. That's actually where I grew up. I was a local mayor there for about 7 years. And then I was a council member there for 4 years prior to being elected. And so today I just wanted to do a meet and greet. Randy mentioned that we met here for about a couple hours, and one of the things that I asked Randy was to do a meet and greet with all of you so you can get to know me. I can share some of the programs that we're doing in the county of Riverside. I think there are some really, really unique programs even for seniors, as well as bringing some of the departments here as well. So today, we have the Department of IHSS, Adult Protective Services here. If we can give them a round of applause. So they do a lot of work in protecting our seniors, which unfortunately there has been, abuse and fraud and all those kinds of things. So they do a lot of work with that. They also provide case management too and resources in regards to various senior programs. We also have from the District Attorney's Office, we have Alberto Recalde, who is an attorney from the District Attorney's Office with us as well. Let's give him a round of applause. And the reason why I wanted to bring the District Attorney's Office is because not a lot of people know, but in the county, within the District Attorney's Office, we have a real estate division. And that real estate division combats fraud, especially, unfortunately, there are seniors that are, because of scams, folks that just call randomly and try to get them to sign quick claims and all of those kinds of things. And so if that happened to you or is happening to you, just know that we have someone from that office here today that can open a case and look into that concern because it is very troubling. It's something that I learned that is happening a lot to seniors, and so I wanted to make sure that we had a representative from their department here as well. So just to share with you some of the programs that we have, some of the policy that the 5th District is actually doing. We got many great programs. One program is called Hire a Senior. This is a program that I've noticed, we've noticed that seniors are having a hard time, especially seniors that are on a fixed income and wanting to work a little extra, maybe a part-time job. It's a challenge for many to at least even get an interview. So what this program does, Hire a Senior, is it incentivizes businesses with a stipend by hiring a senior, and it provides a small stipend for the senior as well. Up to 5 seniors per small business. So this is a program that's going to be rolling out in July and only in the 5th District because it's a program that we promote it in the 5th District. It's actually a program I started in my former city, and I wanted to make sure that seniors have that opportunity as well. So it's called Hire a Senior. So if you are part of our newsletters, actually, by the way, do any of you receive our newsletter? Show of hands? Wonderful. Okay, so we will be announcing that in our newsletter and also letting you know some of the various businesses that are hiring, looking for seniors as well. We also have a program called Hire a Veteran, which is a very similar program, but it's geared more for veterans. So this program will be rolling out in July as well. So as you can see, starting in January, we hit the ground running. We hit the ground running, with creating programs, with developing partnerships with HOAs like this one, Solera as well. And we just have so much policy and programs and that are going to be rolling out very, very, very soon. I did want to share with you that another program that we have is to address homelessness. I think many of us know that homelessness has been on the rise. In fact, you might have already seen the article in the newspaper where there was a 12% increase, right? A 12% increase in homelessness in Riverside County, which is very, very unfortunate. So our office is working to address some of that. As you know, homelessness is very complicated. And what research shows and tells us is that there's many different reasons for homelessness, and we have to tackle it from many different pillars, many different avenues, whether that's workforce, whether that's housing, whether that's outreach, whether that's mitigation, whether that's accountability and transparency. So what our office did in partnership with my colleague Chuck Washington, who's the supervisor for District 3, we partnered and we created legislation for the county to start a at-home, that's what it's called, at-home framework. So the county never had a framework on how to address homelessness. And so what we did is we developed a framework on how the county and how cities within the county can address framework. And that basically means the acronym at home. Accountability, making sure that we're holding the nonprofits and the groups accountable. Transparency, making sure there's a housing element, a housing component to it, making sure that we're doing outreach and mitigation, and then economic opportunity, making sure that we're providing that workforce component. So I'm really excited to roll out a program called the Homeless to Work program. This is a program where we will incentivize our folks that are unhoused to either beautify, clean the city, or in it, whatever their skill set is, we will try to find them a job in that skill set. This is a program that, honestly, I didn't actually create from scratch. It actually started in Albuquerque. So I was at a conference when I was mayor, and I met the mayor of Albuquerque there, and he was giving a presentation about the Homeless to Work program. And it was replicated in 77 cities and counties. So when I came back, I made sure to replicate that in my former city, and our homeless rate dropped by 53% in just 1 year with that program. Yes. So this program, known as Homeless to Work or Wheels to Work, this is a program that we're going to be also kicking off this July as well. So as you can see, we're really, really coming up with innovative things, out-of-the-box thinking to really solve these real issues that we have here. I did want to address, my office as well. We have great staff members that are ready to provide support. My chief of staff, Jaime Hurtado, who unfortunately couldn't make it today because his daughter's graduating from college, and so I told him, go to that. You need to go to that. But he, he's been a great chief and really helping to implement some of these programs. We also have Dennis Gutierrez, who's my public safety liaison in the back, and we also have Gloria as well, Suarez, if she can stand as well for our senior issues. And we have David Lara Teles, who's also our primary for our seniors as well. We also have Rick Ramirez, who does our land use, okay, from our team. Okay, and we also have Jacob Ochoa, who is one of our field representatives as well, that are here today. The reason I point them out is because, number one, I wanted to recognize them for all their hard work, but also, once we get into Q&A, and after the Q&A portion, and after some of the folks from the department speak, and we mingle, and you get to ask even more questions, more individualized questions, feel free to also ask my staff members as well, because they really know their areas, and they can be very, very, very helpful. Again, I'm super excited to be here, and I just wanted to share that one of the biggest things for my staff is accessibility. Once I was elected, I mentioned to my chief and mentioned to my staff and the county staff as well that we need to be accessible, and that's why I'm here. That's why we hosted a telephone town hall, and that's why we will continue to do town halls, because I want to make sure that we come to you and not just you going to the internet and watching the meetings, or having to make an appointment at the office in downtown Riverside or anything like that, which you could do as well. But we want to make sure that we're here supporting you as well. So accessibility is a big cornerstone of our office. We're going to continue to do so. I'm also very excited in that regard to be launching a mobile app, where residents can actually report issues and can also communicate with our staff as well. So we're basically bringing the 5th District to your fingertips. So thank you. So these are great initiatives that we're going to be rolling out. And I just wanted to share that, again, there's a lot of resources in the county. The county is the 10th largest county in the nation. So out of 3,300 counties, we're the 10th largest. And there's about 42 agencies in the county. This county is still growing. You may have seen in the news that the population of California decreased, but the population in Riverside County increased. And this is a very booming area as well. And so because of that, we want to make sure, at least from my office and from the Board of Supervisors, we want to make sure that we're funding many different programs that support our seniors, right? Like the Office on Aging, APS, IHSS, in-home support services, our district attorney's office as well. And they have a number of programs. Even the Office on Aging has, in fact, 27 programs just to help our seniors, from helping them on how to learn how to use an iPad, technology, to meals, and each of these agencies have even their own programs. So that's one of the things I started to learn was, wow, okay, the Community Action Partnership has a meal program. The Office on Aging has a meal program. Okay, so there's a lot of these agencies that have different programs to help our seniors. Some of them are based on income, and others don't have as much of a restriction. So, and then we also have community partnerships as well, that our 5th District also helps fund. And that's something that David Latatelis can speak about later on as well, from our Smiles to Seniors to other nonprofits that we help with, like, for example, the Family Service Association as well, that provides meals as well. So again, there's a lot of great things. Before we turn it over to Q&A, well, actually, let's go ahead and do Q&A first. Oh, okay, go ahead, Virginia. Oh, did you saw your hand? No? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, well, we could turn it over to each of, David, if you want to introduce some of the departments, and then we'll do our Q&A.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor to be able to be in this position to work for Supervisor Gutierrez. He just had his 38th birthday last week. Just turned 38 and has an immense commitment to senior issues. And that is something that is really, really wonderful for me in the position I have. This is our 3rd time here, coming to this since being elected. As a candidate, the supervisor came before. And one of the like the supervisor was saying, the departments that we have in the county that provide services to seniors, it's wonderful. And some of them here with us today from DPSS, we have Denise McCanney. Denise? Adult Protective Services, Elise Simmons. From the care team, we have Cynthia Mendez. And way over there, on the Office on Aging, we have Barbara Warmack and Lindsay Dixon. Right now, Barbara, I believe, will be giving a short overview of the services available through her department. There it is. It's on.
Perfect. Okay, I am the outreach supervisor for the Riverside County Office on Aging, and as mentioned, this is our service assistant and info van driver, Lindsay Dixon, and we travel throughout the county of Riverside, getting out information about programs and services that we offer through the Office on Aging. And of course, you just heard that we offer 27 different programs, but the first ones that come to mind are the support services programs that keep our seniors and persons with disabilities in the home independently for as long as needed. Some of those support services are the home delivered meals and congregate meals. We have temporary assistance at home, which consists of some light housekeeping, laundry, bedding, personal care, standby assistance. We also have the TRIP program for those that need extra assistance with transportation, that have friends and family that maybe drive them to and from doctor's visits or grocery stores, to where we offer an incentive. On top of that, we have various care management programs in addition to free bus tickets, emergency material aid for those more emergent situations to where seniors don't have food, or maybe they're at risk of having a disconnect as far as electricity, gas, or water. Those are just some of the things that we handle within the Office on Aging on top of emergency patch meals. So please stop by and come and see us after the presentation. We'll be here, disseminating information, and be glad to answer any questions you might have regarding programs and services.
Thank you so much, Barbara. one of the contacts that I made that to be able to bring to these events is the district attorney's office, and there's so much fraud and scams that are directed directly to seniors because we are a vulnerable community, and so we've brought today with the DA's office Alberto Ricaldi, and he's going to talk a little bit about what the district attorney's office can provide for you regarding frauds and scams.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Alberto Recalde, and I'm a prosecuting attorney. I've been a prosecuting attorney for about 17 years now. As Supervisor Gutierrez said, it's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm really proud of him being our supervisor in our county here, for putting everyone together like this, coming out here to you, and bringing the government to you, rather than having you go to them and look up websites and whatnot. It shows a real commitment, and frankly, it's one I haven't seen in quite a long time, to be perfectly honest. So it's really great to see him here. As he mentioned, Riverside District Attorney's Office, as he said, Riverside County is one of the largest counties in the United States. That also means we have one of the largest district attorney's office in the United States. At our high point, we had about between 250 to 300 lawyers working for us, okay, within the office. Now, that includes management and line DAs as well. I'm one of the upper senior line attorneys who are there. Like I said, I've been there 17 years, and I've tried just about every type of case you could conceive of. Everything from domestic violence to Mexican drug cartel, million-dollar cases, kidnapping, torture, everything in between. I've been in elder abuse now for about six months, give or take, and let me tell you, it is a really eye-opening assignment, and it's one that they can only put people with my kind of years of experience in it, because it draws from so many different disciplines in our office. Among it, you have recanting victims, you have victims who probably it's their son or granddaughter who's committing the fraud, committing the abuse. So maybe the victims will call the police at first, but then when it comes time to prosecution, there may be a reconciliation there. There may be some families that have made up, promises made and whatnot. So they're very difficult to prosecute. Also, as you may know, some seniors have memory issues as well. Actually, I have them, and I'm not quite as young as Supervisor Gutierrez, but I'm close. But, you know, I can barely remember when I walked into a room for myself. But unfortunately, some of our victims, even at the time of injury, are unable to even recant what happened to them minutes ago because of the certain conditions that they have. So it's a very vulnerable population. And what you should know is that the laws in California recognize that. And there are special laws and special procedures in place to protect seniors specifically. Among them is if seniors get injured, for example, there is a heightened level, it's called an enhancement, that allows for more time for the defendants, because really we understand and the laws understand that seniors are a protected class and should be protected as such. There's other considerations. You may have heard that there's some dismissals going on in the courtrooms and whatnot, but seniors actually have a special designation that puts priority on their cases above and beyond several other cases as well. Okay, so there's many different types of avenues that the laws have provided and that we're actually continuing to fight for. In our office, we are putting together legislation right now which would allow for criminal protective orders while it's in pendency, while the criminal court is in pendency. Believe it or not, even if a senior is assaulted in their home or whatnot, if it's by a stranger, we might not be able to get a criminal protective order, the laws the way they're written now. So we saw this just this year, and we put it together. Maureen Dumichel is helping assist that charge. She's the trial team leader, and she's been doing things like this, working elder abuse for over 5 years. So she's very well experienced. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but I'm happy to be there as well. I do want to just say a couple of things, if I may be just given just a couple minutes. I do want to thank you for being here, because the way we can stop types of abuse, whether it be financial or physical, is by you being here right now and you learning about it. So you guys are the smart ones, really. And how does information spread, right? How do we get this information out there? Well, believe it or not, there's actually studies done on this where the knowledge spreads just like any other disease, actually, or any other type of thing, where you go out into your communities You talk about what you've learned, and that spreads. It's called contagion, right? So there can be a contagion of information that is seeded from right here. So you really should be proud that you're here, and we hope you spread this information. Knowledge is power, and remember that the resource that I mentioned, there's also the resources here that I have here on these 2 packets here. We have several phone numbers that are available, including the Adult Protective Services. And, don't be afraid to call them if you feel that there's a concern for individuals. We also have outlined some of the key points in financial abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, which does occur as well. So there's many of these types of things that can occur. So if you suspect something's going on, feel free to go ahead and call APS, get them involved. APS can be involved for any person over the age of 60. And so once they get a record, we can then use that record to help us, even if nothing happens, by the way. Let's say they go and it's unfounded, and then you call again and it's unfounded, but then something happens, criminal, right? Later on, maybe it's a year from now, maybe it's 3 years from now. We're going to be able to go back on the record and say, nope, we've had several reports from different people that's this. So we can now put a flag on that person, on the suspected abuser, on the type of conduct to try to hold them accountable for their actions. So please feel free to go out and use those numbers to report people. Regarding financial abuse, times are tough here, okay? Here, we've got inflation happening. Rent for a 1-bedroom is anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 in some places, okay? So this population here, with your retirement money, with your housing money, with all your nest egg that you have, is a prime target to be targeted. And I'm sorry to say, but it could be a stranger, somebody who tries to become your friend. Maybe they even have a romantic interest in you, It could be somebody you know and trust. It could be somebody who is a grandchild, or maybe the girlfriend or boyfriend of a grandchild. So you really have to be careful for who you kind of let into your circle. Think of the penalties here about what's at stake, about why these people choose you, okay? If a person goes into a 7-Eleven with a gun and holds up the cash register and gets $200 to $400, okay? Their exposure at that point at the minimum is about 12 years if they get sent to prison. But if they take you for $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, it's probably no prison or very little prison at all, to be perfectly honest. And that's just the way, because of the overcrowding in the jails, because of the overcrowding in the prisons, that's unfortunately just one of the things that happens. So it really, think about that. Why wouldn't they try and get you to sign a POA, for you to sign something, to give them power to do it? Power of attorney is a POA, right? So why wouldn't they get you to try to sign that? Why wouldn't they get you to try to maybe sign on credit cards to help them? So think about their incentives there and what could be at stake, not just for this transaction, but for transactions in the future, because the POAs only end when you end them or upon decease of the person who wrote it. And many people do not understand there's different kinds. There's some that last, there's some that don't. But unfortunately, at the time that they're done, when people are just handing paperwork, it's very difficult for your average law enforcement officer to go in and say, well, this POA is not valid because this person is unconscious and this is valid. It's a lot of kind of paperwork for them. So really, the best protection really starts with yourself. As you sit here now, you're intelligent, you're here sitting down saying you want to be protected, please take some time and write down what your intentions are for yourself by filling out a will, by filling out an advance directive, by telling people what you want to happen after maybe you're not able to make those decisions for whatever reason, okay? So there's many things you got to look out for. You've got scams happening all the time on your phone, if you probably hear it. It might say scam likely, mine do. I got to tell you, I don't even answer the phone unless it comes up on my contact list, flat out. And there are systems in place that are right on your phone where it won't even call. If you say, do not put this, unless they're on my call list, do not even tell me that they call. You can do that right now. And I don't know how, because I'm not that, maybe Mr. Gutierrez could, but I'm not that tech savvy. But there are systems in place that are around that are going to allow you to help protect yourself and really minimize the hassle of having to deal with these people, because we get these calls all the time. And unfortunately, people get the calls because they work, okay? People cozy up to individuals with money because it works. And I have several cases, unfortunately, that are either happening or about to happen where an individual gets friendly, maybe they even married the person, thinking they have the home. They didn't realize the home is in a trust or something else. Now they're angry and they don't even live there, but they're married. I mean, we have everything under the sun that you can imagine. So the best thing to do is prevent yourself from getting into that problem in the first place. I have a couple flyers here. This is there's a pop quiz here with answers about different ways to protect yourself from fraud. And then again, I have the phone numbers here. But I thank you for your time, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you so much. That was so informative. Now we're going to have a short PowerPoint presentation from the Department of Public Social Services, DPSS. I know we use a lot of acronyms, and starting with the county, my God, there are so many. DPSS is Department of Public Social Services. We also have APS, Adult Protective Services, and the care team are going to be doing a short presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us today. Nice to be here. So we are from the Department of Social Services, Adult Services Division with the County of Riverside. Again, I'm Denise. This is Elise, and this is Cynthia, okay? So just a short presentation. I talk pretty loud. I'm not sure if y'all hear me or not. So you need to talk. Okay. So you can take that one.
Okay, so basically today we're going to give you, all right, I got it. We're going to give you a snapshot of the different departments within Department of Social Services. It will be a snapshot on Adult Protective Services, and I'm a supervisor with Adult Protective Services. The care team, the public authority, in-home support services. And again, these are the divisions within the Department of Social Services for Riverside County. Okay.
All right, and DPSS, so we are with the Adult Services Division, and we service dependent adults between the ages of 18 and 59 and elderly population, 60 and older. It recently changed. At first it was 65, but a year ago we went down to 60. All right, so we provide protective services and short-term management for elders and dependent adults, preventative social work assistance, assessments, investigation, and intervention in cases of abuse. So we receive reports of abuse from the community. Anybody can make a call. You never have to give your name. You can be anonymous, but if you witness or you even think that abuse is happening in the community, you are encouraged to call the number that's listed here. We have flyers as well with that number. And what we do is we come out, we conduct an investigation, and when we come out, don't be afraid that we're going to do anything. All we want to do is come and gather information to see what's going on, make sure you're okay, and then provide you with any resources and the services that you may need. A lot of times people do get a little nervous when we come, but it shouldn't be the case. We're only there to help and assist if we can.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of a stigma within the communities regarding adult protective services. For some reason, families believe we're there to take their loved ones, and that is not true. We are there to support, we are there to educate, and we are there to equip, to support you. When you tell us what you need, we strive to get you what you need. We strive to connect you with our community partners like Office on Aging, with the DAs. We're there for you. So please, we encourage families and neighbors, banks, any person can call into this hotline, 1-800-491-7123, to report if they themselves are being a victim of a crime, if a neighbor is a victim of a crime. We have HOAs that call in to report concerning situations in the community because the residents have come to them for help. And so there's a lot of great HOAs that reach out, and we work with them to support that person or those families.
So don't be afraid to call. Call
call us.
anytime, 24/7, 365 days a year.
We're there to support. Okay. Another program that we offer is called the In-Home Support Services. And it's an income qualified program. So for this program, you must be on Medi-Cal. There are many older adults who are just on Medicare. Okay, but if you're able to qualify for Medi-Cal, this program basically will provide you with a caregiver in the home. The goal is to have you stay in your home as long as possible. We want you to thrive, we want you to grow, we want to strengthen you, and that's what this program is designed for. So the services that they do in-home support services are domestics like laundry, house cleaning, meal prep, shopping, personal grooming if needed, and then transportation to medical appointments. If we can't transport you, we will assist you coordinate with your medical insurance. Most of them now offer free transportation, maybe once or twice or 3 times a year, some more frequent. But we will assist you with coordinating that service. Again, we're here to support you, to keep you in your homes as independent as you possibly can be safely. Okay.
And we have a flyer up here for that service. And once you call the number, a social worker will come out to your home. They will assess you for whatever services you need. It can be all or just one thing. So you can get somebody to come and help with house cleaning. And as you need more help, they will be able to assess you to give you more hours every month so somebody can help you with all the other different services.
Yes, and please be honest. A lot of our older adults, they're very proud and independent. They don't want someone coming in and helping them. They want to do it themselves. But please, we ask you to please be honest, because if you say you can do it, you'll get 20 hours a month, when in reality you might need 60 or 70 hours of support in the home. Okay, so just be honest and just tell your worker. It's your worker. They're there for you to support you. They do what you tell them that you need done. Okay. Okay, the next one is public authority. Public authority basically is our registry. They have a list of actual caregivers that we kind of they call in and they contract with us. We send these caregivers to your home to help you out. So if you have 30 hours a month in in-home support services, public authority can send you a caregiver to help you meet those 30 hours. Okay, it states maintains a registry of screened and trained care providers, provides a list of screened home care providers for referrals, and they facilitate the training for the receivers and the caregivers. So basically, if your caregiver comes from the public authority, we're letting you know that you're the boss, you're the employer. You have to train and teach them what you need, let them help you, and if they're not doing it, let your worker know, hey, they're late or this is happening, and we can get you a new person or get them better trained, okay?
And she brings up a good point. You are the boss. You decide what they do, when they come, when they report to work. You have to sign off on the timesheet. So they are there to help you and do it the way that you would like it to be done.
Yeah, in APS, we have some referrals where sometimes some caregivers can get kind of comfortable, okay? And they come when they want, or they leave a little bit early. The car broke down. And so we just encourage you to please call in to let us know so we can stop it from the beginning, okay?
All right, now Cynthia is going to talk about care.
And a lot of people said hi. I've been here before talking about scams. So I am with the CARE program. It's also a division of adult services. And we go out to the community. Anybody that will have us, mobile home parks, anybody will go out and talk about scams, how to protect yourself. We have information over there you could take with you. I know a lot of people said, oh, I already have that book, but that's great. I hope you got a chance to read it. We also host a monthly meeting. We have 4 meetings throughout Riverside County. We have Perez, Blythe, Palm Desert, and Riverside. And what we do at this meeting is we work together with other agencies that also work with seniors. we come together and we talk about cases. So anybody from mental health, Office on Aging, we also have the district attorney's office attend the meetings. So we bring cases of our seniors and dependent adults, and we see how they can assist together to help our clients, serve them better, or maybe sometimes an agency is, they don't have the resources that their client needs, so they bring the case to the meeting, and then we talk about it. There might be another agency there that has a program that can assist the senior, and then that's how we try to resolve, whatever it is that the client needs. We also have a caseload. We help people with consumer fraud issues, or we go out to the community and we call clients too that are victims of scams, and we educate them on scams, follow-up scams. Once they've been a victim of a scam, it's very likely that it'll happen again. The scammers will keep that number or keep that address or that email. So we try to let people know about.
So when we receive APS report about financial scams from the bank or anybody else, we usually get the report, we go out and make contact, and then Kira will also follow up with mailing out resources and making phone contact as well to educate the consumer on scams, how it look, and how to protect yourself.
And these are some statistics that we've gotten from, I think, the Federal Trade Commission. And as you could see, it's climbing through the years. It went from 3.3 billion in 2020, and now it's up to 8.8 billion in 2022. And that's the reported scams. So there's, probably more out there that haven't been reported. So these are the 4 basic scams. Still, people will always try to, try to scare you so you act immediately. One of the scams I do want you guys to know about it's not on the slide, but it's the Amazon scam that we've been getting a lot of calls on. So you get on your phone a text saying it's Amazon, and your packet is being delivered, and it's a $500 amount. So people get scared. They're like, I didn't order anything. So what they want you to do is click on the link or call on the number so you could dispute. That's what you think you're doing, or our clients thought they were doing. So be very careful. This one's really big. I want everybody to know about it. So please don't click on links or call numbers that you're getting on a text or an email. So please be very, very careful not to give out any information.
Yeah, and when you get those texts asking you to call your bank or call IRS or call any government agency, go to the bank directly. Don't call, or if you have a business card that you have taken from the bank with a contact number on it, use that instead. Never call a number that is text to you saying you have to act right now or call. Make sure you call the bank or call the IRS. They will never send you a text or anything, so do not click on the link.
And you don't pay IRS, your taxes with gift cards. That's not how they work.
That's right.
And this is how they're scamming our seniors. They
Yes.
want you to go to Walmart or Walgreens and buy gift cards.
And the thing about the gift cards is you can't get your money back from the bank because you actually went to the bank and withdrew the money yourself. So never, ever withdraw money and go buy a gift card and mail it to someone.
Never give out more information than you need. I wouldn't even give out your last 4 digits. If you initiated a call to a company and they're asking for that, they want to make sure you are who you say you are. But if somebody's just calling you out of nowhere and asking for any information, please do not give out any information. And this is the number to report. And also, please report if you have a neighbor that it's probably participating in sweepstakes, thinking they're going to win the lottery, and they're sending money for, they say, attorney fees or taxes. Please let us know. Also report that as well. We can go out and talk to them. and hopefully they'll believe us. But please also report scams.
Yeah, because we received the APS report the other day. I was telling them that someone called a lady and said, you won this money, but I need you to send me money to cover the taxes. And by the end, she had lost $100,000. She just kept sending money. So just be careful. Do not send money.
And they always tell you, don't tell your kids because
Yeah,
they're going to
don't tell
want to cut,
anybody.
or don't tell your neighbors, don't tell anybody because then they'll want some money. So people don't tell anybody, and it's sad because they're believing the scammers.
So tell everybody.
Yes.
All right.
And we'll be here if you have any questions. And please, for those that have neighbors that couldn't make it out, please take a booklet for them. It's very important. So thank you so much for your time.
Bob, did you want to say some closing remarks? You're good? Okay. Would you like to say something?
Well, again, just want to, let's give them a round of applause for that presentation. Thank you so much. You know, something that really resonated with me in addition to all of these types of programs that the county has is really what Alberto mentioned, which is word of mouth. You know, you are the word of mouth that you can do for this community. So please let your family, friends know about all these different types of programs that are out here that the county has, especially the real estate division, part of the district attorney's office. Be that word of mouth component to everyone here. Did want to mention just with IHSS, it's really, really a great, great program. In fact, it really helped my mom. My mom was one of those that, oh, I don't need any extra help. I'm very independent. And unfortunately, she was getting something from the garage, and unfortunately, she fell and she fractured her foot. And so as a result, she was able to get support from IHSS. And that was able to, you know, with that, she was even able to stay, you know, at home and still receive that support. Now she's doing okay now, you know, she's, you know, not using a wheelchair, so she's doing great. But originally, you know, it really affected her pretty bad. So I don't know if you saw the swearing in pictures when, you know, when she was there. So that was the reason for that. So like they mentioned, you know, feel free to reach out. You know, the service is out there. And there's so many other agencies. Community Action Partnership, they have assistance for utilities, Office on Aging as well, and then just even reaching out to Adult Protective Services and all of their programs as well. I did want to share some infrastructure projects that we're really excited about. I forgot to mention those when I was first speaking with all of you. We have something known as the Pass Mobility Project, which is basically a huge umbrella of projects, transportation projects that the county is working on with some cities and also with the Riverside County Transportation Commission as well. Some of these projects include, like for example, the Highland Springs Interchange. That's a huge, huge project that will be implemented. It's already been approved. So RCTC received the funding, some funding also from the city of Beaumont as well, and from the county to really improve the Highland Springs interchange. And I can definitely see, even coming over here, you know, it took us like we literally would have got here right at 1, but unfortunately we were stuck making that right turn, and it took like an extra 5 minutes. So we're really, really working hard on that. The Gilman Springs Improvement Project as well. We're going to be adding extra lanes on Gilman Springs. If you noticed, we're already on the 6th phase, and there's a total of 8 phases. So in the next couple of years, you're going to see that we're going to be adding lanes on both sides to make it a lot safer. The Ramona Expressway Improvement Project as well. How many of you, by the way, show of hands, have noticed that there's been a concrete median on Ramona Expressway? Anyone notice that? Okay, so that is actually an 8.5-mile concrete median, and it's a temporary concrete median that we receive funding from the state and federal government. And the reason for that is because there's an overall project that we're going to be working on called the Mid-County Parkway Project. And that project is going to expand lanes on both sides. And it's going to make it a lot safer, and the median is going to be a lot taller. But what this median does is basically it helps prevent some of those head-on collisions that unfortunately we've been seeing a lot. And in fact, it even has in between, I think it's about every 6 feet, there's an opening, and I forgot the term of it, but what it does is it stops the cars from actually going over it, because of that little gap that's there every 6 feet. So if you take a look at it, you'll notice that. And in fact, even on the first day, I went to go drive to check it out, and literally there was a car stuck in the middle of the median. Yes, so it works. So it definitely works. And in fact, we've actually seen tire marks already. So you can see the tire marks. Again, it's just another preventative tool in addition to some other things that we have there as well. So that's already been installed. It's 8.5 miles. It's been preventing a lot of head-on collisions and fatalities. And we're going to continue to expand that with the extra lanes. And that's called the Ramona Expressway Improvement Project. And then the Mid-County project is the one where we're adding the extra lanes there as well. I did want to recognize a council member that's here as well, Sherry Flynn, who's your council member from this area. If we can give her a round of applause. Just saw her come in, so thank you. Again, I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I wanted to see if there's any questions that any one of us can answer or provide. And then just so you know, if you do have a very individualized or maybe very personal question and you don't want to announce it in front of everyone, that's okay. I do plan to stay here, so we can you can ask me that question, in private or to our staff members as well. Yes, sir. How about this gentleman?
Remember that you must speak into the microphone.
Yes. Okay.
Hi, my name is Charlie Fries. We have lived in Banning/Sun Lake since 2000. We moved in diapers. We're not as old as we appear to be. I have one comment and two questions.
Okay.
The one comment that I don't believe you'll be able to answer or help us with is our city manager, Doug Schultz, and Adam, the warehouse guy. I wish you could do something to help us with those two individuals, but sad to say, even our city council can't get along, and that's a terrible shame. But we appreciate you for making promises, showing up, caring, and following through. So thank you very much, Supervisor.
Thank you, sir.
The two questions that I have, you may or may not remember we spoke by texting, and then one of your representatives and I chatted. The first issue that I have is with CHP and Highway 10. I do not understand any reason why you see CHP pulling over private automobiles but never pulling over an 18-wheeler. The speed limit in California for 18-wheelers is 55 miles per hour. Some years ago, my wife had a terrible accident, was run off the highway. I went over to CHP to get the report, and the person who forced my wife off the Highway 10, where she was almost killed, never even got a ticket.
Wow.
In that meeting, a supervisor from Beaumont CHP and I chatted, and I indicated to him about the speed limit being 55 in the state of California for 18-wheelers. He said, Mr. Fries, you don't understand. If we enforce the 55 mile per hour speed limit on Highway 10, we'd have a traffic jam between Arizona and LA. I said, I don't understand your comment. I don't want any favors, just enforce the law. I get so terribly tired of hearing we don't have enough enforcement officers. Your indication about this 8-mile separation barrier could be prevented or do without the need for it if we had more enforcement. You could put a CHP officer or a city officer on the corner of Highland Spring, any one of the intersections, and pull over enough cars in the course of a day to pay that person's salary. Get more money, enforce the law, don't do anybody any favors, and just slow people down. The other thing is you must travel between Riverside and Highway 10 frequently. Some years ago, Caltrans, who treats the pass area as though we're stepchildren, did a road reconstruction on Highway 10 towards west, towards LA, in the Calamasa, Yucaipa area. Now, if you travel down that road, you would think that you were on a roller coaster. Why can't we get that damn road fixed once and for all and hold the person or people accountable for such a rotten job of improving a highway? If you travel on Highway 10 in the pass area, it's derelict. There's trash all over. If you travel Highway 10 out towards one of the casinos past Indio, it's absolutely gorgeous. What is wrong with Caltrans that they treat us like stepchildren? What can you do to help step it up and beautify our area? I don't even want to talk about the derelict nature of the city of Banning. Enough said.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Friesen. Just if I could just comment on that. One of the things that's very difficult is working with the state agencies, because CHP and also Caltrans. But one of the things I started to do right away, because I've heard that comment many times actually, is working with Senator Rosalise Ochoa Bo. We actually started a new partnership with her in meeting with the Caltrans director. So I'm going to bring up these things as well just recently because, and the other issue is that they switch them. They switch these directors very often, so yeah. So we're gonna continue to work on that, and I did bring those issues up to the senator that does represent this area, the state senator, and she's promised to help this area. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to continue to do that. Thank you. Yeah, I can definitely ask her. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, I wanted to ask a question because I live on the north side of Sun Lakes. Usually a lot of homes that are very close to a freeway and or railroad tracks, they have a sound wall. Mm-hmm. I notice that a lot of them do in Moreno Valley. In Riverside also, there's high walls that are called sound walls.
Yes.
Can that be something that you can look into? Because not just for Sun Lakes, but when you go down more to Banning area, there are homes that are right next door to that wall. Like their backyard is freeway. Mm-hmm. And that's very dangerous because those are family homes. So I wonder if you can be able to look in that. That would be very desperately needed, and that would very much help, especially regarding train derailments, car chases, which I hear on the freeway right there by my home, things like that. Yeah. That would be a safety issue for many of the Banning residents that live up against the freeway, and the most important thing, I believe, is the railroad tracks. Mm-hmm. I get concerned about that.
Thank you, Virginia, for that question. In fact, something I've seen already, and I want to thank the Councilmember Flynn also for bringing that to my attention too in our meeting a few months ago as well. Something one of the things I did was I scheduled a meeting with our RCTC director and mayor. So RCTC is the Riverside County Transportation Commission. They're the lead agency that builds, a lot of these freeways, and then they turn it over to Caltrans, which is state. And trying to just kind of brainstorm with her to see, okay, how we can maybe address those issues. Is it more of a partnership with maybe the city of Banning, with RCTC, the county? I'm all in for fixing that issue because I've seen that, and you can even ask my staff every time when we drive up and down on the 10. I always bring that up. In fact, just the other day, I was talking to Jacob, field rep, and I was like, wow, look at these houses so close, to this area. So definitely we'll continue those conversations with them. A lot of times those sound walls, just so you know, are usually built when there's some kind of development or when they were first putting certain development, the cities can ask for different conditions. It's really about making sure that, you know, the cities or the individual cities advocate for those things right from the very, very beginning, because then it's a lot harder to do it afterwards. But I'm definitely going to work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Maybe even from some of our services too? Yes.
Hi, my name's Mike Voles, resident here of Sun Lakes. We're having a terrific problem with homeless all over the state, all over the United States. What is the county doing from a standpoint of garnering more monies, trying to work out that? It's not clear that we're getting far. We're trying hard, but from your perspective, where are we at on that?
Thank you for that question. I think housing is a very big thing, but I also think it has to be a multifaceted approach. You know, for example, workforce. So what it is, you know, with homelessness, you know, I think that many of our homeless, you know, the causes of homelessness is very complex. Some, you know, it could be mental health, substance abuse, life circumstances, all different kinds of issues. And so we have to make sure that we have a program that meets those needs. One of the things for our 5th district, which includes this area, like I mentioned, well, we're going to be starting a program called Homeless to Work, and that's going to help a lot of the folks that, because of life circumstances, you know, that's going to help address that group of individuals. We also have individuals that have mental health, you know, problems and substance abuse. And so we're creating some programs for them as well. We are also working, my office is also working to see which cities, which areas would be amenable, right, or would be agreeable to even allowing, you know, like for example, like tiny homes or little housing developments to provide transitional housing for them until we can provide those wraparound services for them, and then get them off their feet into more permanent housing. We are also working with private developers to build more housing, more apartments as well. So there's a block of funding that we have known as SHODO funding, CHDO, and we're using those funds to help build more permanent housing. The issue is that as it takes a while to build, and by that time, you know, there's more people that are unhoused. So it's a very complicated issue, but what I have seen, though, is that, for example, in the desert, they do a program called Housing First, and it's been relatively pretty successful. And so I think making sure that we're doing a program that includes the housing and the workforce and mitigation and accountability is what's going to help us as well.
I agree with you on that. My question was more directed towards where are we going to get all the money to take care of this? Because without money and increasing taxes or whatever we have to do, I mean, it's overwhelming. We're at a position now where we're letting in 700,000 people within the next month into the United States. You know, we're close to the border here. It doesn't seem like it, but we are. But what do you look for as far as federal funding? Where do we get the money from the feds? I mean, how are we working at that?
So the good thing is that we did receive a block of funding from ARPA dollars. So we still have ARPA dollars to create those kinds of programs, and we're using those ARPA dollars, for example, to fund the Homeless to Work program. So the American Recovery, I forget what the P stands for, but Act, we're actually using some of those funds for that. So those are federal dollars. We also have CDBG dollars, Community Development Block Grant dollars, and those are federal dollars as well. And then the Continuum of Care dollars from the state. There's a pot of funds there as well. So looking at all of that, we also, our office found a fund. So definitely not raising taxes. You know, I don't think that's the way to go. But because there's a lot of already funds out there that we can tap into to create these innovative programs. In fact, and I forgot to mention, in Cabazon, there is a fund called the Cabazon Revitalization Fund. And when the Board of Supervisors approved the expansion of the Cabazon outlet, and you can find this in the press enterprise as well, part of the conditions was that 25% of that extra sales tax revenue would actually go to that fund. And that fund would help revitalize the Cabazon area, the Pass area, and beautifying it, and all of those things. Well, our office did some due diligence, and we found out that the fund has never been touched since 2014. So there's quite a bit of funds in there. It's about $5.2 million. And so we're going to be tapping into that fund because we're getting about $600,000 every year coming in, so we can help revitalize the Cabazon, the Pass area, with those areas, with those funds. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is
Good
Paul Perkins. I think that the county can provide another type of service. Maybe we can have a mobile centers that go around to the different populations. A lot of the homeless hang out in different areas. It can be providing social services, medical services, that type of thing. Stopping in, seeing the people, what their needs are. I don't believe we have anything like that.
I like that idea. We do have one, it's called the RUHS Mobile, and it does go to different areas, but it's only one. So I really like that idea, and I'm going to bring that back to my staff, in addressing that, because you're right. They're in many different places, and they move from place to place. So thank you for that idea. Oh, there's a question over here in the front. And then one back there.
My name is Fran Hanratty. Thank you so very much
Yes.
for coming and your staff. And I have 2 questions.
Okay.
One of them is we do not have enough doctors in the Riverside County. What I understand is like we have 30 doctors per 100,000 people, and places like San Diego or Orange County, they have like 60 doctors per 100,000. What's being done to get more doctors? And so that's one of my questions. Should I proceed to the next one, or?
Sure.
Okay, so the next one is that this question I have addressed to various agencies. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. One of them was to the Senator Ochoa.
Oh, okay.
One of them was to Assembly Member Greg Wallace. And I have also contacted Lupe Valdez with Union Pacific. And the projects that are coming to Pennsylvania and Highland Springs is sometime in the future. Nonetheless, in the meantime, we need our ramps cleaned up by Caltrans. And I understand what the gentleman said. Yes, I share that same opinion. As you come from Redlands down the I-10 towards Cabazon, the emergency lane, there's trash on the corners, and it has been there for months and months. I'm not sure if the street sweeper swept through it, and there's another truck from Caltrans and picks it up. But nonetheless, I have addressed these to these representatives that represent us. Just recently, I addressed the wash that we have here by Joshua Palmer that is full of weeds, and I was told that it's part of Caltrans. The problem is that it's between Caltrans, the city of Banning, and whoever you call, they are not contacting each other, and the work is not getting done.
Okay.
So those are my questions. So
Well,
can you help or look into that as well? Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question. Definitely, we'll look into that. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my staff just to get your contact information, so that way we can follow up with Assemblymember Wallace also and Senator Ochoa Bowe with Caltrans, because like I said, we have those standing meetings, so I want to make sure that that's getting relayed to them as well. You know, one of the things that it's very unfortunate that we've been seeing in some of the areas, and it really, I think, has to do with our representatives speaking up, the community speaking up, and mentioning to Caltrans, hey, this area does need to be clean, you know, or this area does need to be taken care of. Because if you're right, you know, you go to like Redlands, you go to Irvine, you go to maybe Temecula, and you don't really see that there. So we want to make sure that that's not happening, you know, in this area as well. So I thank you for bringing that up. In regards to your question about the shortage of doctors, we do know that that's a big issue. In fact, as soon as I started, I've only been here 4 months, but 5 months, but as soon as I started here, that was one of the biggest issues that my HR staff told me about. What we're working on is a recruitment and retention overall program to really help recruit more doctors to come out here, and also retention to keep some of the doctors here as well. We also have a partnership with UCR Medical School, so as that gets completely built out, and then the RUHS residency program that trains new doctors, it just expanded a new wing. So we're hoping that we can get more doctors out by doing those types of tools. Thanks. Okay, no problem. Yes, back here. Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that we as voters and taxpayers have a responsibility to support you in some ways. And I'm wondering if you have the resources to provide us to have some workshops or some discussions that prepare us to be more active in supporting you in the services and changes that you're trying to bring.
Oh, thank you. Yes, absolutely. You know, I welcome, you know, more of these types of meetings, you know, community meetings. I think those are really good. Being a member, you know, of our newsletter, our town halls, I think is very, you know, important. We also have in our 5th district boards, so advisory boards and community boards that I encourage many residents to become involved. For example, the Office on Aging, you know, they have, you know, an opportunity to join, and so there's many different ways. But I'd love to chat with you and see how we can partner together. Thank you for that. Appreciate the support.
Hi, my name is Sue Savage. We have a community awareness program in here, and maybe bringing her idea and community awareness together so that we would have little workshops too and find out how to do this. It's a nice program. You already are in contact with the person who can say yes or no. Anyway, my name is Sue Savage, and as many of you know, I am newer to the community. When I came here with property taxes. This is something that involves every single one of us is property taxes. So when I came here, I bought my house, and then I got my property tax assessment on my house, which was even more than I paid for it. I was told under the law that I would take my former house property tax and bring it with me. So if you have any new neighbors, mostly all of us are downsizing, so that's what happens. I found out that's the law, but that doesn't mean that that's what happens, okay? As I told you, I got this bill I could not believe. So I started complaining. This is to attest. When he says that he follows through, I started complaining, and I wrote to him and I said, I have a real issue. Can the superintendent do something? We will be with you till the very end. Okay, those are the words. Well, this started probably last October, and now we're in May, right? And I'm going to say to you, absolutely, positively, not just the words, but absolutely positively standing there, walking through, such that yesterday I also got a call. So I want to say, promises made, I will be with you, promises kept. So he's important, and a community awareness would be
Thank
good.
you. You know, one of the things our offices do, thank you, Ms. Savage, for those comments, but one of the things our offices do is I like to make sure that we're really servicing and providing services to our residents and follow through. So what we have is a 6-step process. Anytime you call our office, like my office, District 5, we'll open up a case, and we will follow up with the agency, and then we'll make sure to follow up with you to make sure that it was resolved to your satisfaction. So I think that's really important. And I believe, you know, it's funny because when we started that process, some of the staff was looking at us at the county like, well, no other supervisor has ever done that. And I said, well, we're going to do that now because I want to make sure that we're reaching out to the residents and that there is follow through. Because a lot of times it was just, okay, we'll give their information to the department and that's it. You know, but what we do is a little bit different. You know, we're there with you every step of the way, with whatever agency it is of the 42 agencies. Okay, thank you.
I have one more question. When these departments were talking about helping the aging, regarding about abuse, things like that, those standards that you were talking about, that you investigate and so forth, that also goes to caregivers as well. Because sometimes we do have caregivers that just independently come in, and unfortunately, it's been unfortunate. Yes. Yes, they take advantage of the seniors when they do a quick claim deed, things like that from the seniors and everything. And you had mentioned something about HOAs can be able to step in regarding about this, and they can report it
This is PO.
anonymously?
Oh, no, unless you were talking about their presentation.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Just a comment on that. Yeah, so the young lady mentioned caregivers being prime suspects. This is unfortunately also true. So this could be anyone. It could be a trusted friend who is also a caregiver. It could also be just someone sent from an agency. Half my cases involve caretakers. And honestly, just so you know, many of the caretakers might be doing a very good job by and large. And there might be a relationship building over that. But over time, because of certain conditions, physical and mental deterioration, you know, they become frustrated, and there are moments where they just snap. There are moments where they just break, and there becomes a physical outburst as a result of that. Or in addition to that, they start to basically drain the funds kind of one by one, slowly by slowly. And yes, caretakers are one of the ones. And just so you know, caretakers have a special duty. There are certain people who are elevated who have a special duty of care, so this would be a caretaker. And you'd be surprised as to who qualifies as a caretaker. There's not a clear cut, you don't have to sign a contract that says, I am a caretaker. If someone is providing food, if someone is getting you medication, if you're relying on them, if there's a type of relationship that is built voluntarily, then at that point they become a caretaker and special rules and provisions apply. And they must, you know, if you have a caretaker who's been with you maybe all this time and then suddenly they say, you know, I got another job, I got to go to LA, I got to go to New York, see you later. As a matter of fact, that could be grounds for a criminal charge if they just leave and leave you without anyone, leave you without anyone else, because there is a relationship that has been built at that point. If the person, if the victim is relying on that person and everyone knows that this is it, then there needs to be set up. There needs to be some kind of you know, continuation, transition, thank you, to kind of make sure that the needs are being met of the senior who needs that care. So yes, caretakers are absolutely a part of that. Just so you know, banks also are mandated reporters as well. And so we've gotten several calls from banks. So when you go to the bank with somebody and you've got, you're there and they're like, oh yeah, just sign these papers, and you've got somebody there and suddenly this is activity that is strange from the account, they are under a duty then to report that, to say there's strange activity going on here, we've seen a person here, we don't know who they are, And so banks are also obligated to report that as well. So, but yes, thank you for that comment.
Thank you, Alberto, for sharing that. All right.
Any other questions?
Did you want to add anything as well? Oh.
Okay, there it is. Yes, so HOAs are able to call in. Anyone can report any type of abuse, odd behaviors. I have had many reports from HOAs, also from just neighbors calling in with their concerns about someone. Maybe they haven't seen them. Maybe they witnessed or overheard something happening that they thought was just not right. Yes, they would call into the hotline and make a report.
And and I think they can do pretty much like checkups, right? Like if you're just a neighbor, maybe you're a neighbor, and because this happened on my street as well, and you're just concerned that maybe no one's been coming out of the house, or you just never know. You know, it's good to maybe call. I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah. And always feel free to call law enforcement for a welfare check. If you think something is going on with your neighbor or somebody, it's okay to call in a welfare check to them. They'll go out and they can immediately force entry if they think something is wrong or have probable cause, all the legal stuff. But APS, we can go, we knock on the door, and a lot of times if they don't answer, you know, we can't force entry or we can't go in, but law enforcement can. So if you think your neighbor or somebody needs immediate assistance and you just don't know if they're okay, call law enforcement for a welfare check. And when it comes to caregivers too, I think about, we get a lot of reports for family members. So just be really mindful of your affairs, okay? And try to, and he talked about POAs, and they are not always bad, but try to appoint somebody while you have the capacity, somebody you trust, and somebody you know will be able to manage your money and step in for you and do the right thing if something happens to you. A lot of times we go out and the client has not appointed anyone to take over their affairs, and they have such a hard time with intervening for them to make medical decisions or to contact the bank or to contact their doctor. So start thinking about that and maybe, you know, get some legal advice. Go to Riverside Legal Aid, Family Justice Center, get assistance with putting a will or a trust in place to appoint somebody just in case something happened. But caregivers, it could be family who's perpetrating that abuse, so just be really careful.
Thank you so much. Randy, I believe, has some final words, but again, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Supervisor. Before we get into the thank yous and accolades and all that, I wanted to just let everybody know, especially the service providers and staff, that not only do we have the 60 or 70 people here, this has been live over our closed circuit on our cable channel. It will be recorded and shown on there, as well as on our Facebook page, and there will be a link. And I've told Rick already that I'll be sending the link of this entire video to your office, so you have that. So again, I'd like to thank the supervisor, his staff, and the supporting services, everybody for coming out. I think it was great questions and answers, everything. Thank you very much.